Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everybody. My name is miahtheking, and people who take care of chickens are literally chicken tenders. Now then, today we're taking a look at a game just released on Steam today called One Lonely Outpost. What game is this? Well, you ever play any farming simulator game ever? Well, how would you like to do that, but this time on an alien planet that you're also trying to help terraform? That's pretty much this game. Developed and published by Freedom Games, this game is selling for $20 American and was released in early access. So, is it worth our time and money? Well, let's find out together. So I've kind of already told you what the gist of this game is. Basically, there's some planet out there, and as part of some deep space organization, you're on your way to help colonize the planet. But when you get there, it turns out there's no life and poisonous air. Oh no! What are you gonna do now? Well, still colonize it, I guess. And thus you start your journey of farming on an alien world to colonize it and terraform it and yada yada yada. That's it. So as always, let's get into the good and the bad, and followed by my final thoughts. So the first thing I liked was the art style. When I first started playing this, I said, I like the look of this. It's quirky and charming. And it is. Is it super duper awesome next-gen graphics? Hell no. But its graphics are very pleasant and nice to look at. For instance, the contrast of colors are blended very well together. Considering the pixelated 2D style graphics, it's got some impressive attention to detail. The shaders are nice, and I guess just overall it looks good, at least to me. Next up is the sound and music. Now, there's no voice acting in this game, but its sound effects are perfectly sounded, and I mean, they're really good. Like, I love the sound of those lasers and stuff. The way the sounds of the lasers and the machines that are working your stuff sound, like, it sounds really good. And the music is appropriate, is the best I could say about it. I mean, I wish it was a bit more recognizable, but it's passable. You know, good enough to place it in the positives, I suppose. Next is the price. This is $20 for an early access game. Now, I know what a lot of you out there are probably thinking. $20 is a bit much, considering the game isn't finished and it's pixelated. But keep listening to the positives and you'll be in agreement with me that the price tag is very appropriate. In my personal opinion, the price tag is perfect for this game and all that it's offering at this point in time. The next positive thing that I wanted to bring up is the stability. Considering it's early access, I didn't run into a single bug. Not a single freaking bug or glitch, like none at all. No frame rate drops, no freezing, crashing, clipping, or getting stuck, or just anything. I mean, if you were to ask me without showing me the Steam store page, I would assume that it was a final release. So this is awesome. This was very nice. Up next is the gameplay. It's actually very well done. I'm going to include the user interface and the tutorial here, which I don't normally do, but I'm going to do that because there isn't much else to say about them, but I liked them too, I guess. I mean, the user interface is easy to navigate and understand. It's just missing a few things, like a sorting button for your inventory, or the fact that if you have items in your backpack and collect more of that item, it goes into your hotbar rather than stacking in your backpack. But I'm going to mention all that again later. That's kind of dumb. And the tutorial is easy to understand and teaches you what you need to know, but it's one of those rare tutorials that only pops up when you're about to do something new. And I hate those kinds of tutorials. Just tell me everything I need to know in the beginning using a story or plot or something, so that way I know what I'm doing, and then after you get a bunch of the beginning stuff out of the way, then you can wait and have the more advanced stuff pop up when it shows up. You know what I mean? But anyway, back to the gameplay. So, you have 4 different devices that you start out with that serve as your kind of farming tools, basically. You've got a tool used to hoe the land, you've got a watering can kind of tool, a high-intensity air-drying hand tool to blow away random piles of dust, and you've got your deep drill that breaks up pretty much anything. Each serves a significant purpose in the game, and they feel right and appropriate pretty much like everything else in this game. And everything is intuitive. For instance, you can water your plants and keep walking while your water sprayer is spraying, so you don't have to stop like in Stardew Valley. You just keep walking while your water can is doing its job. It's more fluid to water your plants. Haha. The same can be said for all your tools, which makes it a bit nicer to edit your territory or harvest resources. But yeah, for this game, you're trying to colonize and terraform the planet, and you really feel it too. You feel like you're all alone on this alien homeworld, and you're just trying to survive, so get to work. I do wish the game was a bit faster, but we'll get into that in the negatives. Overall, though, I couldn't find anything super negative to talk about with the gameplay, and it was all just pretty fun and well designed. With the player who likes to farm in mind when they designed it, like, you can feel that that's what they were thinking about when they were designing this, is players who play a lot of farming games, what are some of the things that they would like to see? Boom, they put it in this game. They also have upgrades, building mechanics, relationship mechanics, lore, and a big mystery you have to solve, and so much more that I'm just not going to go into because it would take too long. By the way, if you hear anything in the background, I apologize. It is raining heavily where I'm at right now. The next positive is the writing. It's very well written, with an interesting mystery and an interesting plot, which I'm not going to say anything more about here. Just know that it's interesting, unique, original, and it's very well written. But that was the final positive, and to be honest, that's a lot of good things to say about the game. I mean, I kind of covered a lot with those. It's almost like, oh, what negatives could you possibly say? But now we got to go into the things that either I didn't like, were broken, or it just felt wrong. But before we go into that, did you know that I have a new segment on my channel? It's called Same Day Reviews. What's that? Well, it's kind of exactly like it sounds. You make a request for a video game you want me to check out, and I'll review it and post a video on it that same day. Unless, you know, I already put out a video that day, in which case it'll be released the following day, because, I mean, I'm not a machine. And the only way for a YouTube channel to get more views is if it's viewed more. Talk about a paradox. So the only way my channel grows and gets more views is if you precious few viewers out there who decided to check out this video decide to share it, like on it, and comment on it. These things help get my channel viewed more, and they help support my overall growth. So please, please, please consider supporting my channel today. Thank you. Now, on to the negatives. The first thing I saw that I didn't like was the lack of a run button, you know, which brought to my attention a bunch of other problems with the game and its mechanics, which is basically, I guess this whole negative is a lot of the game mechanics are either just not installed yet or they're badly designed. For instance, as I mentioned briefly earlier, there's no sorting button for your stash or your backpack, so you have to organize everything yourself. But there's more. There's no quick button to automatically deposit or withdraw items from storage or backpack. You have to click and drag, no double clicking or holding control or anything, which is annoying. When you pick up something on the ground, it goes to your hotbar. Okay, so then you want to move that from your hotbar to your backpack, right? But then when you go to pick up another of that same item, it goes back to your hotbar. It does not stack with the others in your backpack. And I'm just sitting here scratching my head going, why? Plus, there's no run or sprint button or ability to run or sprint. And I'm just wondering, like, again, why? It's so slow walking around everywhere. Is it just because the map is small and you're worried that people are going to get through their whole day before it's even noon? I already do that even without running, so that's clearly not the issue. And don't even get me started on that map. I mean, what is up with this map? I mean, look at this map. It's so confusing trying to learn your way around, and with a map this pathetic, it makes it even more confusing trying to learn your way around. So you do technically have a map, it's just a very vague map with no specifics about what's in these sections or about where you are in that section. Why? What purpose does that solve? Isn't this the future? I just traveled here on an intergalactic spaceship. Shouldn't I have a choice between a detailed or a vague map? I keep getting lost even after 2 hours of playing and only 4 areas to explore, and I still keep getting lost and turned around because of how confusing all of this is in the crappy map. So please, give us a better map. There's literally no reason for this. And I guess the last negative I have is the fact that there are no real settings you can mess around with in this game. It's just controls that you can remap. You can't adjust the settings at all. I mean, the only setting you can really adjust is the sounds volumes. And that's probably going to irritate some people, which, I mean, it irritated me. But other than those main things, the game just feels kind of slow and directionless. It kind of gives you a direction to go in sometimes, but then it's just like, no messages, no quests, no anything, until time passes and you finally just randomly get something for no reason. But once you've explored these 4 areas and extracted all the resources that you need, you're just kind of bored and you keep sleeping and passing your days until something interesting does finally happen. Plus, in the beginning, it's pretty much get up, water plants, and go mine rocks over and over and over and over again. And that's a boring process, so it's a little slow and boring in the beginning, and I hope that it gets more interesting and entertaining after some more time passes. I mean, what you've been watching, does this look fun just walking around and looking at the same scenery over and over again and mining these rocks over and over? I mean, doesn't that look boring and tedious? Yeah, it is a lot like that in the beginning. But look, overall, for my final thoughts, I think this is actually a great little game. Sure, it has its problems, but it's early access, and considering it's early access, it was released in a pretty solid, stable, engaging state. I like this game. It's a good farming simulator game with a twist. You're on an alien world, and along with farming, you're also trying to terraform and discover the mystery of who was here before you got here. I think it's definitely worth your money, and I like to think it's worth your time if you're into games like this. I mean, if you are into farming games, you're going to love the heck out of this one, to be honest. I'm already enjoying it because I love farming simulator games, and I was really digging this one. I mean, it's a little boring and slow in the beginning, sure, but you know, just put on some TV in the background while you chug through the boring parts in the beginning and get to the more interesting stuff. So my recommendation, I mean, if you love farming simulators and you're desperate for a new one, this looks like a pretty good one to take your chances on. So yes, I recommend it. It is really good, just a bit rough around the edges is all. So keep that in mind when you decide to dive in. But that's all I got for this video, everybody. Thanks so much to all of you who watched. If you have any questions or concerns, please let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I can't wait to see you all again on my next adventure. So until then, I bid you all farewell.